The way Tyler says it sounds familiar, but I can't place it. Yeah. Derek just makes the problem go away, no questions asked. This is kind of weird, you guys do realize that, right? I mean, what do you do when he's not around to make it go away? Jacob's lip quirks. They actually don't crop up that much. The sort of problems he deals with don't necessarily deal with the center. He focuses more on the dark presences that we notice, they stand out the most, dark presences. Like the black, funny, that's what he called them too. There's one in the city right now, really close by it seems, and it's been driving us up the wall. We may not look like it, but the presences we sense affect us to the point where a blue or green aura will make us feel like we're on top of the world, a red one will make us really irritable, and a dark one makes us feel sick, like there's some sort of virus entering our system. After a few days of exposure, our health starts failing, like we have the bubonic plague or something. Derek explained it as the black leaking. What was it he called them, again? He turns to Jason. Pressure, he supplies. Derek always referred to it as pressure. Although for the life of me, I can't seem to figure out why. All three look at me expectantly. I hold my hands up. Don't look at me. I can't sense pressure if my life depended on it, literally. I can see the pressure around people, but I can't even see the color that Jesse and the others claim is around them. Maybe we have a stronger pressure, Tyler air quotes the word. Then you do, I shake my head. No way. You guys have barely any sort of motes orbiting you, even a member of the Black has more, and theirs is extremely weird at the same time. There's no way you guys have more pressure than me. You guys would have started sliding for sure, it's not a choice. Jason sounds surprised. In response, I give a snort of derision. You have as much say in whether or not you start sliding as a baby decides whether or not it's going to be aborted. It just happens. Your pressure reaches a specific point, and then poof. Like that you're off on the journey of the rest of your life. There's no choice. I don't even know how my pressure spiked enough to ship me off. My pressure didn't register with the others until we had traveled through a couple dimensions. All I know is now I'm stuck trying to figure out a way to stop sliding. Don't you guys choose where you go next at least? There's some pretty scary scenarios you guys can get tangled into, I smirk. If there's a way to control where we go, the rest haven't deemed it worthy to be brought to my attention. Guess it's kind of hard. We slide as a group, so if we all decide or have a different dimension in mind, maybe our atoms would be torn apart, so you guys could end up anywhere during any time period. Tyler asks, shoving another rice ball in his mouth. I guess. I've only been sliding, according to Chase, for a few weeks, so I guess it's possible. It actually feels pretty good to be talking about all of this with people who don't seem to know more than I do. Bouncing ideas off of them, without the fear of ridicule feels great. I'd be willing to tackle a Black to be able to talk normal like this with at least someone. Even as the idea enters my mind, I flinch, remembering that woman's pressure. Magdalene. Hiyori had given a name to the face. She had attacked us, attacked me. Her pressure and evil smile were directed specifically at me. My pressure had spiked. I had lost control of it. It had responded to her pressure automatically, turning black and trying to fight off her attack by its own volition. She had ripped right through it. As if it didn't even exist. Hopefully the rest of the Black aren't that strong, otherwise I'm in a pile of crap if I think I can pull off an escape. The rest of the meal switches between questions of the cult. Sliders center the 3 run and questions about time travel. Most of the questions are aimed at me, because all 3 have different priorities to what they want to know. I try to hold my own the best I can, but several times throw my hands up in the air in exasperation and proclaim, I don't know, or that's just the way it is. The meal ends with a person coming in and whispering something in Jason's ear. He purses his lips, his eyebrows shooting up as he shoots the ceiling a look of annoyance. I'll be right there, Tyler sighs as Jason stands up. Knew it was too good to be true. Jason's head ducks down as he shoots him a look. Someday, this will all be yours, and then maybe you'll finally understand all the stress that comes with running this place. Heaven forbid that day ever come. Tyler rolls his eyes as he murmurs in a quiet tone. Jason looks at me. It was nice to meet you. Brandee. Maybe while you're here you and yours can visit. You're always welcome here. See you soon, under more favorable circumstances. I hope. He leaves the room, following the messenger. Tyler shrugs and stuffs another rice ball into his mouth. Yeah, like when we don't have someone from the black hanging around, don't look at me. I throw my hands up. I just faced off with one, and I'm not going to go head to head with one again anytime soon, if I can do anything to avoid it. They're just downright creepy. You fought one. Jacob's interest piques as people come in and start clearing the table. I shrug. We didn't fight. Me and Jesse were on our way. Jesse and I. Tyler corrects. I shoot him a look. Don't remember you being there. Anyways, we're on our way to do recon. We missed our ride, so we called a cab. The cabbie goes and takes us somewhere completely off the highlighted route, pulling over and getting out of the car to talk to someone hiding in the shadows. He didn't have a stitch of pressure, which makes me think he was hiding it somehow to make sure we didn't realize he was with the black, but the woman he reported to, she started walking towards the car, her pressure whipping about her like tentacles. Some reached out and started wrapping around my throat, choking me. It was like she was trying to kill me or something. Jesse forced it then, and I ended up in the middle of your inspiration room talking to a rent-a-cop about my supposed drug problem, ha. Jake. You didn't even need to get on the bus. One showed up in the thick of things. Tyler jabs a mocking finger in Jake's face. Jake's brow creases with confusion. That's not possible, why not? I ask. It's not like you guys could cast some sort of spell to block us out. No, but we can spin a pressure web between the three of us to at least deflect you guys so that you don't appear in the middle of a television broadcast or something. Yeah, because the odds of that happening are extremely high, you'd be surprised. We have crazy stuff happening all the time, what with the fact that we can sometimes manipulate the auras around us. Yeah, because pressure manipulation is helpful, don't be so sarcastic. Tyler scolds. We can do stuff. I can heal injuries and illnesses and stuff. All of us can. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever floats your boat. The thought suddenly strikes me. What time is it? Jake glances at his watch. Looks like it's almost 9:30, crap. I've got to go. Skip's gonna kill me for taking my sweet time, we'll call you a cab. He must have seen the fear flash through my eyes, because he changes his mind. On second thought, I'll call up Mikey. He's the one on shift right now, right? He turns to Tyler for confirmation. He shrugs. I guess. I have no idea. Mikey will do it though. We did save his daughter's life, yeah, but I hate the idea of taking advantage of people who think they owe us or something. Tyler flicks out his phone, and quickly dials a number. He takes a few steps away from us and speaks quietly into his phone. Jacob turns to me. I'm pretty sure I've already said this, but just in case I haven't, you're always welcome here, no matter what's going on. This place was originally made for travelers. I have a hard time believing that it was just a coincidence that you relocated within our walls. If you ever need help, just give us a shout, okay? Then he does something completely unexpected. He takes a step forward and hugs me. At first, I just stand there awkwardly, unsure of what to do. Before I know what I'm doing, my arms rise and hug him back. It feels good to have contact with someone, human interaction. My throat tightens as I remember how I used to hug my dad or Will. Now they're both gone, and I'll probably never see either of them again. I can almost see Will, standing by the door, ready to ambush me when I came home from school. She always beat me home, and was always waiting for her hug when I got there, even though she was in grade 8. Tyler clears his throat. We separate quickly, but Jacob throws an arm around my shoulder as if we were longtime friends. Mikey's downstairs, already. Did he speed or something? Actually, he was about to call it a night. But he's agreed to swing by Brandee's place on the way. Does he even know where I need to go? 5432 Loudon Heights on Yorkshire Avenue. Tyler replies promptly. He grins at my expression. Healing's not the only thing I can do. Sometimes. I can read people's minds, an extremely annoying habit. Jacob murmurs. Anyways, we've kept you long enough. Brandee, have a good night. I'm gonna go see if I can't ease Jason's burden a bit. Sometimes it's convenient to have the two of us looking the same. He gives my shoulder a squeeze and leaves, the door closing quietly behind him. I follow Tyler silently down the stairs, amazed at how the center has transformed in the hours we spent over dinner. The only people walking around are a few residents and the security guards, none paying us much attention as we cross the foyer and head outside. Parked at the bottom of the steps is a black car, sleekly designed. Idly quietly by the curb. A man in a sharp, blue suit is waiting by the back door. He nods to the two of us as he opens the door. I sling my bag in and almost dive in after it. See you soon. I hope. Tyler waves as Mikey shuts the door. I roll down the window. Yeah, maybe, if I don't get too much of an earful from the gang for staying out all hours of the night. He shrugs. Just say something like, hey, I'm a teenager. I need room to grow, dude. I'm sure no one can argue with that kind of logic. We laugh. Bye. I glance at the driver and nod. We pull away from the curb and Tyler is soon lost in the night. The truce. It takes a good 10 minutes to reach the address that Skip gave me. Light gleams through windows on either side of the street, showing that people are home for the night, or just forgot to turn off the light before leaving. Mikey pulls over to let me out. Somehow, he manages to beat me to the door, even though he has to walk all the way around the front of the car. He helps me out. I drag my bag out with me. Thanks. The heat hits me like a shock wave, and I try to cope with the sudden change from air conditioning to stifling August weather. He shrugs, his eyes twinkling as he winks. It's good to see that not all of you travelers can teleport. Then I'd be out of job. Take care, Rainbow Kid. No idea what he's getting at, so I just give a quick little laugh, which seems to be the right response. Before I can think of what to say, he's already back by his door, opening it and getting in. See you around. I call out as he pulls away. A hand pokes out from the window in acknowledgement. I sigh as I turn to the apartment building. 5432. I hitch the backpack higher up on my shoulder and step across the sidewalk, kicking away loose garbage. I step into the alcove between the two sets of double doors and press the button labeled 5432. Beside it, in bold typeset letters, is the name of the renter T. Black. My eyes narrow at it even as the speaker buzzes. Who's there? It's me, Kentucky. Let me in already. It's about time. Brandee. We were gonna send a search team out for you in a couple more hours. Meanwhile, I could be out in an alleyway somewhere, losing blood from a gunshot or knife and run mugging. Nice. Jesse, really nice. Sorry. His tone leaves no doubt that he couldn't care less. But we were in the middle of an intense game up here. Just buzz me in already, or I'll kick your ass. You can't do that if you're stuck down there. Now can you shove it? I'll fly if I have to. If I do, though, I'm just gonna take it out on you, you know. In that case, come on up. 8th floor. The buzzer does its thing and the lock clicks open. I swing through the door. 'Bout time. I mutter as I stalk through the foyer, past the guy on duty and up to the elevator. A little white note is taped to the shut doors, and I press the button with dread, hoping that it's wrong. With a hiss of frustration, I turn away from the out-of-service elevator and heave the door to the stairs open. I step to the railing and glare at the distance I have to cover. Why are we so bloody high? I continue grouching as I work my way up the stairs, my full stomach making me want to stop every 5 steps. What if we need to take off because the cops are onto us or something? Forcing it can't seriously be our number one option. Why are we staying in another blooming black place? I thought the rest of them couldn't stand it. The complaints carry me to the 3rd floor. Flying has got to be better than this. I mutter, trying again to make the moats swirl around my feet. Nothing. Instead, a huge amount of energy seems to drain out of my body. I glare down at myself. Seriously. I didn't even move anything and you're taking a nap. I freeze as I realize what I'm doing. I'm going crazy. I say out loud to myself. I'm psychotic now. All because of this sliding. It's gotta be. I'm not insane, but this crap is messing me up. I stare at the bottom of the set of stairs above me. Okay, we've all had our fun. Now let me out. I want to go home. Time to wake up. After getting no answer after a few minutes, I shrug and start walking up the stairs again. Fine, be that way. I wander down the hall, searching for the right room, but soon resort to sounds when I hear Kai's laughter shriek through the hall. Muffled voice chatter excitedly, and a collective groan emits from the door in front of me as someone yells something. I test the handle, and enter as it opens in my hand. Jesse, Kentucky, Chase, and Dutch are gathered around the table, playing a fast game of cards, stacking different piles of the same color until 10 is reached. The pile is quickly pulled out by whoever laid the last card, and is replaced when someone turns over a 1. Between the 4 of them, it takes only a minute or 2 before someone hollers blitz. Getting rid of their designated stack of 10 random cards. Amar is sitting by the TV, watching the news. Skip's nowhere to be seen. Jesse looks up as he deals the stack out again. Hey there. The others turn and grin at me. Have nice walk. Chase asks innocently. Shove it. Chase. I'm exhausted, yeah, we can tell. Maybe from now on, you won't forget your bag. Kentucky suggests. I'll be sure to do that. I say as I shoot her a glare. She just shrugs and sets up her cards. We didn't save you any supper, by the way. Chase speaks up. It was just some chow mein and chicken. Nothing too fancy. Jesse said that you got a free meal off of somebody, don't say anything about it. No names, nothing. Jess's voice is suddenly in my head. He stares right at me, his face unreadable as his eyes bore into me. I blink in mild surprise at the intensity of his thoughts. Suddenly, I remember that Chase was expecting a reply. Yeah, I say, in a quiet tone. I did. Chase glances between me and Jesse, and shrugs. All right, well, you can either join our good Muslim friend over there. He allows a Middle Eastern accent to seep into his words as he gestures towards Amar, or you can team up with one of us for an intense game of Dutch Blitz, having no significant relation to our beloved drunken Dutch, she can take over for me. Kentucky sighs. I've had enough of these bland colors. She slams her deck on the table and skids her chair back. She stands up and pats my head. Have fun. Shrimp, shrimp. Are you kidding me? I slap her hand away. She smirks and hops over the back of the couch to land beside Amar. Oh, for crying out loud. Jesse calls over to them. Get a room. I sit down in Kai's chair. So, how exactly do you play this game? Dutch grins evilly at me. We've got a rookie, guys, how about we start out with you on a team with Chase, Jesse suggests. He's the slowest, so you'll be able to follow his movements more easily than the rest of us. For the next hour, the 3 spin cards back and forth, creating and removing piles, counting how many cards they have left at the end after someone gets rid of their pile of 10 and hollers blitz at the top of their lungs. I join in after half an hour, and the real craziness begins. I have yet to win a single round, or even get more than 3 cards off my stack of 10. I roll rapidly through my remaining deck, flipping them 3 at a time, glancing wildly about to see what's going on. But every time a chance crops up for me to lay a card, one of the others crushes it by laying their own, or yelling blitz just as my hand rises with a card for one of the piles. Still, the others make it fun. Trash-talking each other, calling out for specific cards and colors, pointing out cards on other people's stacks so that they themselves can then lay down 3 in a row, getting more of their own cards into the pile for the price of helping out an opponent. Chase and Dutch seem to be alternating rounds of winning with Jesse, who, when he's not winning, is just a lay away from doing so. I slide a card in just as Dutch reaches the pile with his own, earning me a dirty look as he withdraws his hand and dumps the card back in his pile, reaching for the next card. Blitzkrieg, Chase hollers, leaning back in his chair after slamming his last card down. We all lean away from the tables, shoulders slumping as we let the stress out. Jesse glances suspiciously at the cards in front of Chase. He grins at the look on Jess's face. They're all gone, sugar plum, and they're not coming back until we sort out the piles. Dutch divvies up the cards of mixed suits between us. On the back of each card is one of 4 pictures, which Jesse has explained to the blue plow, the yellow bucket, the green hand pump, and the red horse buggy. It's a Dutch thing. You flip over a stack and divide the cards into the 4 suits. The more cards you got into the stacks, the more points you get, the aim of the game being to get the most points. 6 blue plows are sent my way, while the rest of the colors have at least 20 mixed in. Chase gives a low whistle as he adds in the new totals. Petite, if this game went according to Phase 10 rules, you'd be winning by a landslide. Shove it. Dutch starts laying out his stack of 10, as does Jesse. I just leave my cards where they are. I'm done. Jesse glances up. All right, good night then. I shove my chair away from the table, grab my bag, and wander through the room. The kitchen/dining area are set apart from the living room by the different flooring. I turn to the left and make my way down the short hallway. I both doors, and see 2 rooms decorated exactly the same way, both have 2 triple bunk beds with an end table positioned between them. Oi, I holler as I exit the one room. Which room? The one on the left. Kentucky hollers back. The other one's for the guys. I shrug and collapse on one of the bunks, dropping the bag to the ground beside me. I glance around the room. Black threads of pressure seep from the walls, but when I blink again they disappear. A cold chill runs up my spine as I remember Magdalene. After waiting a few minutes to see if the pressure reappears, I lie down and try to relax, despite my nerves being set on edge from the idea that one of the black might randomly appear at any moment and attack me. How had Hiyori known all that stuff about the black anyways? I stare at the wood of the bed above me as I try to figure it out. As far as I know, Hiyori can't leave my inner world. At least, I hope not, because if she can leave that means that she has to be able to get back in somehow, like there's some back door, like computer programmers make before selling the program, in case stuff has to be rewritten later or something. And if my inner world is like any sort of computer program, then that means that it can be hacked, just like any other backdoor. The only thing keeping people out is a password. Get that password and you can do whatever you want in the program. So maybe the backdoor does exist then. Hiyori always stabs me to kick me out, but maybe there's another way, unless Hiyori stabs herself, like the sword she carries has some sort of magical power to shove people out of that existence and into this one. For some reason, it seems easier to think about my inner world and all of the other dimensions as 2 separate entities, separate existences. My inner world is like the transition between dimensions, so it can't be classified as just another dimension, especially when the landscapes don't exist in any other dimensions. Poles that rise out of the water, upside-down cities that are unaffected by gravity. That's the sort of stuff you'd find in comic books. I notice the burning sensation crawling up my leg, emanating from my pocket. I dig out the rock, blinking rapidly as the characters give off a bright light. This rock has something to do with my power. And my power is somehow connected to my pressure, which is now more concentrated thanks to Hiyori. I'm insane. I laugh as the thought hits me. Unfortunately, Kentucky chooses that moment to walk in. What's so funny? I tilt my head to look at her. I've finally come to the conclusion that I'm insane. No sane person would accept any of this stuff as reality. Kentucky just shrugs. Yeah, so. I'm insane, so's the rest of the gang. Shrimp. Spouting off theories about time warp, relativistic proportions of antimatter particles. It's hard to say that you're sane. Sane people are actually the insane ones, believing that nothing greater than they exist. On a different note, why are you on one of the bottom bunks? Does it really matter? I raise an eyebrow at her, my tone suggesting that it shouldn't, only in regards to security. You want to take the highest bunk, so that if any intruders come into the room you can attack them from above if they don't leave. The guys don't have a choice, one of them's gonna have to sleep on a bottom bunk, unless Skip stays out all night. Does he do that often? Kentucky shrugs. Meh, every once in a while he drops off the grid, only to show up a little while later. Can't you just link up with him? I ask as I haul myself out from the bunk. Kentucky shakes her head as she tosses her bag up on the opposite bunk. No, that's what I mean by dropping off the grid. He just vanishes. The link's patchy, so it happens sometimes, like a bad connection or lack of broadcasting points. You make it sound like some sort of cell phone plan. It ain't, but I'm too tired to argue with you. Kentucky stretches before launching herself up onto the bunk. I shove my bag ahead of me before crawling up the frame to reach the top bunk. Kentucky lifts her head, looks at the light switch, and a moment later the room is plunged into darkness with a soft click. Kentucky shuffles in her bed and gives a loud yawn. Good night. You've got first shift, huh? She turns to face me in the darkness. First shift. You know, we take turns being awake to make sure that we're not ambushed by some sort of stealth attack. Who would want to attack us in the middle of the night? Boogeymen. She sounds so serious, as if she's actually convinced of the idea. I snort. Yeah, okay, whatever. The boogeymen aren't going to attack tonight. How can you be so sure? She whispers. Because they promised me. There's a pause. Are you in league with them? Kentucky asks suspiciously. I shake my head before I realize that she can't see me. No, I'm not. Then they were just lying to you. Kentucky pronounces confidently. They never say what they mean. I scared them good. I assure her. Backed them into a corner and threatened to burn them alive with pyrokinesis. That would work. I didn't know you were pyrokinetic, though. I'm not, but they don't know that. Oh, good thinking. Good night then. I lie still in the darkness, listening as Kai's breathing becomes even as she sleeps. Kai's afraid of the boogeymen. The thought makes me smile. The scary hunter with filed teeth and messed up eyes is afraid of something that doesn't even exist. She's always set me on edge, like some sort of invincible warrior who feared nothing. But in the dark, when there was no fight or planning, Kentucky was just another human being, a kid at heart, still afraid of something. Vulnerable, Brandee, Kai's voice calls out from the darkness. Yeah, I ask softly, ready to set more of her fears at ease. You tell anyone about this conversation and I'll make sure the nickname Blood and Guts has a literal meaning for you. Black is the new red. It's not until the afternoon that I manage to get Jesse on his own. Since this is the dimension a person can only force it to. There's no heist, meaning that we have nothing to do. Skip hasn't come back yet, so Chase took command, and went shopping, grocery list written in Jess's practically Chinese scrawl in hand. Kentucky and Amar left too, muttering something about going to the Y. Dutch dragged himself out of the guy's room around lunchtime, took in the scene of a nearly deserted room with Jesse hanging upside down from a corner of the ceiling solving a crossword and me sitting at the kitchen table spinning red holographic lights above the tablet's surface, took a swig of his bottle, and left, dumping his bag by the door. We both look up to watch him slam the door. Jesse drops from his perch, flipping midair to land on his feet cat-like. I deactivate my tablet with a few quick strokes of my finger across the holographic surface before I turn in my chair to shoot him an eyebrow. What? He asks innocently. Explanation, I remind him. About, he prompts. Last night, when I came in from my little trip around the city. Chase asked me about snagging a meal from some people I had met. All of a sudden, a certain someone's voice is in my head, telling me to not say anything about them. Must have been your buddy Jinta, he replies, sitting down in the chair across from me. Except for the part where Jinta's a girl and the voice was definitely male, then it could have been your imagination. That sort of phenomena is not unheard of, you know. He studies his puzzle, writing down a few answers in his quick scribbles. I sincerely doubt it wasn't. But, if you're so sure. I guess it won't hurt to ask Chase when he gets back about the 3 guys I ran into and how they can. Okay, Jesse explodes, cutting me off. I get it. You want answers. The look in his eye triggers something that causes all the pieces to fall into place. You're the one they were talking about. Aren't you? You're Derek. He purses his lips. They told you about that, huh? I take it they sensed a black then. He studies his puzzle. Yeah, close by. What exactly do you do to them? Who? He looks up, his hand moving to fill in the rest of the squares. The black. You freaked out when you realized that the cabbie was one. So does this dimension amplify your powers or something so that you can take on the black more effectively? They told you that I took care of the black, right? Pretty sure they made it sound like I kill them. Actually, all I do is walk right up to them, and they take off. Guess we're not supposed to be able to notice them or something like that. Whatever the reason. It's like they're operating under a non-interference policy, they never go anywhere near us. Then what was all the fuss about in the last dimension? Every member of the group was being shadowed, and we even ran into Magdalene, who, my eyebrows shoot up. It's just a nickname for that chick the cabbie brought us to. Why'd he do that? You were there too, you should be able to remember that much. I was already trying to force it by that point, remember? I don't know. He pulled over, and started walking towards her. Then you forced it. Did you get a good look at her? He asks, puzzle forgotten. The same urge that made me lie about Hiyori causes me to reply. No, not really. But she was creepy, like she wanted to swallow me whole or something. His shoulders slump with disappointment. Why? I ask. Do you know who she is? He shakes his head no. I was just thinking that maybe that she might have been one of the higher-ups within the black. I think she is. Jesse nods. And you're sure that you didn't get a good look at her, right? No, and I still don't get why it would be so great if I had. She's probably the first higher-up we've ever come across. We've never had an actual run-in with the black before. They always disappear whenever me or Chase gets close. And if any of the others had ever come into contact with one, we'd have noticed the bits of black pressure that had attached themselves to them. This was the first real time that they've ever shown their faces.